Against all the evil that hell can conjure, all the wickedness that mankind can produce, we will send unto them only you. Rip and tear until it is done.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Torn from Oblivion, where you come for the cats and stay for the facts. Well, feelings, it's complicated. I'll explain in a bit. I'm going to be discussing 3 different video games today: Doom Eternal, Space Marine 2, and Monster Hunter World. The reason I'm bringing up games instead of anything else is because I think they best encapsulate what I want to talk about, and that is the drive to dive into hell. I've been fascinated with the amount of popular video games that involve either diving into a literal hell or something so close it can be described as hell. I'm no expert in any of their lore, but I want to cover a few of these games and discuss what I see in each of them. The first game we're going to be discussing is Doom Eternal. Now, the Doom franchise is not new. It's been around since 1993. Everyone has at least heard of this game, and some people know it for its, let's say, creative way of expressing how the character handles his problems, and some know it for the quick weapon switching and snap aim that you have to learn in order to play it. Either way, again, you've probably heard of it. Doom is set in a world where you play as the Doom Slayer, or Doom Guy. It depends on which set of games you're playing, and there's lore involved in all of that. Don't worry about it. He is single handedly tasked with defeating demons that have invaded both Mars and Earth, and also going to Hell to also defeat said demons whenever they stand in his way. What I see in Doom is a will to accept responsibility. Sure, it isn't your fault, for the most part, but you can't watch Hell win. Hell is destroying Earth, Hell is destroying people on Mars. Hell is doing its best to make sure there's absolute chaos everywhere. It might not be the Slayer that's doing any of it. He isn't personally contributing to any of the chaos in the sense of the gameplay. And again, if you're a lore expert, you can look at it and say, well, actually, it is the Doomslayer's fault. It's because of this and this. Well, fine. The downvote's there. Give me a mean comment. Cool. I just enjoy the gameplay, alright? But the Slayer chooses to do something about all of this. Instead of sitting idly back and saying, well, it seems like the world's going to hell in a handbasket, literally, he decides to get up and do something about it. He puts on his armor, he picks up his shotgun, and he literally dives into hell. But not only does he have the determination to face all of hell, he also has the power to back it up. He is the Doomslayer, after all. And you can feel it. I mean, how can you not feel powerful when you have gameplay like this? There's just something special about that. Doom encapsulates the feeling of having impossible odds and seeing things get completely out of hand, to where surely no one person would be able to solve such issues, and maybe, in a way, he can't. But he can stop the issue from getting worse. I love the feeling of diving into what would appear to be a completely overrun location, but you get in and everything turns its eyes on you because you are the one thing that could stop Hell's plans for absolutely destroying everything, taking every human they can, destroying the world and everything that we would know. You, the Doomslayer, stand in their way, and you don't stand for long. Space Marine 2 is a game where you play as an Ultramarine, Titus, attempting to save humans from what are essentially Helldiver bug hordes. And I'm sure someone's going to try to correct me on that. Listen, visually, they're Helldiver bugs. I get that there's the whole hive mind and the psychic connection and there's synapses, all that good stuff in 40k lore. Listen, I haven't read the books. I don't have that kind of time. Sorry. The general gameplay flow is not too much different than a third-person Doom. You rip and tear your way through hordes of enemies, including hostile Astartes that are traitors, bugs of various kinds, and regular humans that have turned over to evil. I actually find the difficulty scaling absolutely wonderful. Every time I encounter a new enemy, I'm caught off guard. There's always the sense of needing to be prepared, because nothing is going to be the same from mission to mission. Maybe that's just because I'm bad. Maybe that's because I'm dumb. Either way, I really do enjoy it. As far as the drive to dive into hell goes, I love how seriously the Ultramarines take their task. There's angelic imagery everywhere. These guys are known as the Angels of Death. Whenever you walk by guardsmen, sometimes they'll look at you and say, "Wow, it's one of the Emperor's angels." And they'll bow just because of your presence. You're not simply seen as a solution to a problem. You are holy angels coming to defeat demons. Monster Hunter World is probably one of my favorite games of all time. In Monster Hunter, you play as, surprise, a hunter who, what does he do? Hunts monsters. There's a lot more lore stuff, of course, but suffice it to say, you take a big anime sword and beat up a big old dinosaur because the environment or something. It's hard to express the level of difficulty some of these fights have. It's expected that you'll lose your first encounter with most of the monsters, and then find a way to beat them the next time that you meet them. Some of them, that's the next 15 or 20 times, such as me and Elatrion, who I still haven't beat.
And thy punishment is judgment.
The part that best encapsulates the feeling I'm trying to go for is whenever you go into an arena fight with a monster that you've fought several times before. You've captured them to bring up this fight, you've unlocked it, and now you're ready to go. You get in and you realize it takes a few times, it takes a few attempts, but you're not stuck in here with this monster. This monster's stuck in here with you. It makes it to where creatures that are known as demons or gods in this world become far less scary. In fact, when you come in, sometimes they're the ones that go away because you're the real threat. So why'd I throw these 3 games at you very quickly? Well, if you're still watching, and based on the stats, 80% of you aren't, maybe you, like me, have found yourself in real-life situations feeling hopeless, scared, and out of options. Maybe you've had a close family member die, you've lost your job to a corporate takeover, or you've had romantic relationships broken unexpectedly. All of that's happened to me, and I know how that feels. I got into these games at some of the most difficult times of my life, and like reading a good book, they taught me something. That failure is expected, but overcoming, that takes dedication. You don't learn Velkhana immediately. It takes time. You might die the first time you see a new bug, but the second or the third, these games taught me that determination and using what you're good at can help you push through even the worst of odds. With Doom, I learned thinking fast and making quick decisions can be the key to taking advantage of an opportunity. With 40K, I learned to trudge on, no matter how many of the obstacles you face. With Monster Hunter, I learned you aren't really locked in with that big dragon, he is locked in with you. Far from being murder simulators, games like this help us live out the feeling of conquering the mythological representation of things that torment us in the here and now. They let us feel a little bit of what it must be like to truly overcome the darkness. Because at times, you can get so beat down, you can get so discouraged, that it feels like nothing's going well for you. You can't recapture that feeling of victory because you don't see any victories. And that's where I think games like this really come in handy. Like I said, far from being a murder simulator, this is something that allows people to recapture that vigor of, well, what happens if I can really rip and tear my way through hell? What would happen if maybe more things were possible? And that feeling starts to arise of, you know what, maybe I can try again. Maybe I can give some more effort to the things that I care about. Why? Because I care about it. And who's going to stop me? That's the kind of thing that I don't think any other art medium is capable of capturing nearly as well as what these are capable of doing. Because you go from thinking, well, everything is hopeless, to, maybe there are 1 or 2 areas that I'm strong in. And then you have an example of what it looks like to say, maybe you're not good at everything, but you're pretty good at quickscoping. Well, if you're good at quickscoping, you can also learn how to handle your shotgun. If you do that, you can basically complete the game up until the final boss. Well, maybe what about in real life? You know, there's one area I'm strong at. Well, maybe writing. Well, what can you do with writing? You see how it can start trickling into your real life as well. That's the thing I like absolutely best about this stuff, and that's what's actually helped me through some areas of my life, right? Where I get discouraged about different things. I get to the point where I feel like I can't do anything. There is nothing I can possibly do to overcome these odds. And then it hits me. Where have I seen that before? Where have I seen that represented in art form before? Oh, yeah, Monster Hunter, Space Marine, Doom Eternal. And this is a cool part because that's where it becomes a catalyst for change. Instead of what people, typically will look at and say, like, oh, those are rotting your brain. Maybe, in a way, but you know what it's also doing is retraining your brain. So instead of seeing countless hordes from hell, you see enemies that need to be defeated. Instead of seeing a dragon that's unslayable, you see a nice pair of boots. Rather than being a way for people to simply escape life, which that is one valid reason for playing these games, or to simulate hurting other people, and yes, there are a few people who have done that. I believe the majority of people take these games and use them as a way to practice feeling powerful. Use them as a way to practice feeling capable. And then that can translate to the rest of your life. So, in defense of these violent video games, or what people consider to be violent video games, I want to say there is a mindset that can be achieved by playing these that really can't be achieved by doing just about any other art form. And it's meant a lot to me to be able to practice feeling powerful, to be able to practice being competent in the safe setting of a game, and then being able to take that experience and that feeling and start pushing it forward into my own life. So anyway, thank you for watching this quick summary. I appreciate all of your time and attention, and I hope you have a good day. Goodbye.